Buenos noches and good evening. This is your weekly news report, and I'm your host, Pedro. Federal law enforcement agencies conducted a series of raids connected to the investigation into alleged welfare fraud in Minnesota on Tuesday morning, federal authorities said. The raids are not part of an immigration enforcement operation. At least 22 federal search warrants were executed in Minnesota on Tuesday morning. It was not immediately clear how many total raids occurred. No arrests or criminal charges were announced Tuesday. At least one of the raids appeared to be at the Somali Senior Center and Adult Day Services facility, as federal law enforcement can be seen going in and out of the building. The Minnesota Department of Human Services said it has taken steps over the past 18 months to strengthen oversight of its early intensive developmental and behavioral intervention program, which include autism centers. Now here's Rafa with our next top story.
Federal prosecutors in New York City charged several current and former Mexican government officials Wednesday with conspiring with the Sinaloa cartel to import large amounts of drugs into the U.S. in exchange for bribes and political support. Prosecutors in Manhattan indicted the current governor of the Mexican state of Sinaloa, Ruben Rocha Moya, 76, and 9 other high-ranking government and law enforcement figures on multiple drug trafficking and related weapons counts. Their cooperation with the cartel also allowed cartel members to carry out brutal drug-related violence with impunity, prosecutors alleged. The government claimed the defendants worked closely with one faction of the cartel, the Chapitos, which is led by the sons of notorious former leader Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Before and after Rocha Moya was elected governor, federal prosecutors said he attended multiple meetings with the organization in which he pledged to support the drug trafficking operation and to allow it to operate with impunity in Sinaloa. The government said the defendants, all of whom are believed to reside in Mexico, face up to a maximum of life in prison if they are convicted.
Iran is taking advantage of the ceasefire with the U.S. to dig out its weapons, according to a U.S. official and 2 other people familiar with the matter. The regime has stepped up its efforts to excavate missiles and other munitions it hid underground, or that were buried beneath rubble from U.S. and Israeli airstrikes, they said. The U.S. believes the regime wants to quickly reconstitute its drone and missile capabilities so it could launch attacks across the Middle East if the U.S. president decides to resume military operations. The commander of U.S. Central Command, Admiral Brad Cooper, was scheduled to brief the president and members of his national security team about the options, as well as the status of a U.S. blockade. Iran began blocking the Strait of Hormuz after the U.S. and Israel began its bombing campaign on February 28th, and the move has sent global oil prices surging. Iran has maintained that it still has the ability to wage war against the U.S. and protect its interests. Now here's Ariana with a look at your weather forecast for the week ahead.
Hello, I'm your chief meteorologist, Ariana, with a look at your weather forecast for the week ahead. A cold front will bring showers and thunderstorms to the southeast and Florida through the remainder of the weekend. Rain chances will increase in Northern California and the Central Great Basin to start the week. Meanwhile, cool conditions are set to continue in the east, while the west sees unseasonably warm temperatures. An upper-level trough off the California coast is forecast to evolve into a cutoff low and remain in place as it becomes disconnected from the main jet stream. A separate frontal system in the northern plains and Rockies will bring a return of precipitation too. Start the work week, followed by cooler conditions. An upper-level low over central to southeastern Canada will support amplified troughing across central eastern U.S., reinforcing cool and unsettled conditions through the period. Meanwhile, a Pacific trough closed low will move inland across the southwest, including the southwestern deserts region early in the period before ejecting into the plains, which may bring mixed precipitation for the Front Range by midweek. The cold front moving southward across eastern U.S. will bring heavy rainfall across the Mississippi Valley, Ohio, Tennessee Valley, and southeast for the latter part of the week. Now here's a look at your 7-day forecast for the Phoenix, Arizona area. Temperatures will start the week below average, with highs in the mid to upper 70s to start the in-week, then increasing midweek and pushing to around the 100-degree mark by late week into next weekend. Sunday and Monday will see cloudy conditions as that upper-level low moves through the X region, but then skies clear out and sunny for Tuesday and the remainder of the week. Low temperatures will be very pleasant to start the week with lows in the upper 50s and then increasing to upper 60s to low 70s by mid to late week. Now we send it back to Pedro.
That will do it for this week's weekly news report. As always, thank you for watching and have a great week. Como siempre, gracias por ver el video y que tengáis una buena semana.